I've got two computers going here. One is me and one is Freddie. So trying to manage a couple things here. Hi, Georgia. Hi, Darlene. Carmen made it on. Tom's on. Hi, Caitlin. So last week, I think most of you were on or watched the replay like Delane did. But I think I talked about one of the strategies of success that successful people use is that they have very vivid and clear modalities of their success and very small, blurry, minute internal representations of their failures and their setbacks. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to ramp up your images of success and what creates positive emotions in you. And we are going to minimize and shrink all of those negative images. Carmen says she missed last week. She'll catch the replay. Carmen, you missed a good one. It was a long one, but it was pretty fun. So let's start first with any wins, we didn't get a ton of shares from last week because of our time. So I'd love to hear, did any of you have specific insights or a plan of action for the things you wanted to work on from our success self-assessment last week? There's only a few of you, so I'm going to pick on you. That's you, Caitlin.
Hi. So I actually had a share from the last week. I've been working on similar things each time, just like building, right? Clear intention. I got 3 different opportunities for podcasts, like interviews in a day, like after sending emails. So it's like the emails don't just generate the income. They're really so powerful. But last time I left a comment about how there was, just in the beginning of the list, there were so many things I was clear, okay, work on that. And then you just kept going. And I was like, oh my God, this list is so long. And I loved all of it. I thought it was really just like very comprehensive, awesome list. And I went back afterwards, rewrote it all, and realized that most of the list I feel really good with, actually, where I am. It's just there's some pieces that need a lot of work. So it wasn't as overwhelming to narrow down the focus of what you work on. Which is
good. And I feel like you've already done a lot of work, so you know it's not like starting from scratch. So I'm sure you've made progress in a lot of those areas over the months and years that have passed, right?
Yeah.
Good.
But
Good.
bringing
Well, glad
the
you're
attention to
emailing
it
that list.
like, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. Anyone else want to share? Georgia, were you on last week? No? Okay. You can catch the replay. All right. So we're going to get into changing the modalities of your successes and your failures. So we'll do a couple different hypnosis processes here. And I want, when you think about past failures, we know they're there, but we want to take the lessons from them and we want to minimize them. So what happens is people that are held back by their failures, what they do is they picture their failures, and many of you know how the modalities work. They picture them associated into those images. They're bright, they're big, they're overwhelming. So if I tell you, if you're afraid of spiders, and I tell you to imagine a spider like up close and right in your face with big hairy legs and fangs and 8 little beady eyes, right? George, I can see you're making a little face at that. But if I tell you, it's off in the distance, like way off in the distance, and it's like a little stuffed animal spider and it's pink, you would be like, you wouldn't make a face. You wouldn't be worried about it. And so what happens, the same thing with our failures, is if we imagine them up in our face and bright and vivid, we feel those in our system and they become a block to the way our nervous system functions. But if we push them in the future, way off in the distance, way behind us, different places around our nervous system, and we change the modalities, we change the importance of that instance to our nervous system. So I remember I was at HypnoThoughts a few years ago talking to a woman I met at Mike Mandel's training. And she was like, a few times she said, I'm doing great. I've just got this one thing that's kind of bothering me. And she kept putting it like, I've just got this one thing I got to work out. And I was like, oh, why don't we just take that and we'll just move it off to the side? Because her nervous system was telling me she was placing that picture, that dilemma she was having. She was placing it right in front of her. And Caitlin, you remember in Mexico, I was doing an intervention with another woman there, and she had this like her checklist, her to-do list was right in front of her face, and it was like big and massive. So she always had this urge to get things done and to check things off her list. And of course, the list was never ending. So she always felt overwhelmed by it. And so we just like shrunk it down and moved it to the side. And it like you could see her face changing as she was imagining that list moving off to the side. And so we're going to do the same thing with the things that we perceive as holding us back, because it's really our perceptions of them that are stopping us from functioning optimally. And how we perceive them really turns on or turns off the ability of our nervous system to move us through the world in an optimal way. Is everyone picking up on this? Has everyone experienced this where, like, let's say you have a breakup and it's like it takes up 90% of your mental sphere and energy field, and the rest is like, you can get out of bed and maybe shower once in a while and you don't feel like eating, and and if we just made that like really small, it would still be there, but it wouldn't affect you the same. It wouldn't affect your nervous system the same way. So that's what we're going to do today. Does that sound cool? Does anyone have any suggestions, any specific things? I'll have you kind of write down a few things to work on in just a moment. Maybe we should do that. Maybe get a piece of paper and let's make a list. And while we're doing that, let me check in with Freddie. All right. He'll be on in 45 minutes. All right, so let's do a line down the middle, and on one side, we could put the things that used to hold us back. So negative circumstances, things that have affected your idea of yourself and your capabilities. And then on the other side, you can put the things that you want, the things you're working towards, the things you're looking forward to. And you don't have to write anything down yet. I just want you to outline some space for those. So we're going to do a little hypnosis process. I'm going to ask you in your subconscious mind to bring up things that have emotional residue in your system. Things that you'd like to move past, things that you'd like to minimize. You'll write those down, and then you'll write down the things you want to work towards. And then we'll play some games and we'll change the modalities of those things and see how different you feel. And by the end of this, you are going to be on cloud 9, feeling absolutely unstoppable. Is everyone ready? All right. Carmen, Tom, Darlene, I can't see you, but I'm going to assume that you are ready. There she is. Hi, Carmen. All right. So this is what we're going to do here today. I've used this to change, and I'm sure many of you have as well, things like this to eliminate phobias literally in like 5 or 10 minutes. Like just changing the way someone pictures something can change how this affects their nervous system. The first event I did an intervention with someone who had a needle phobia, and he pictured this like old mean doctor over top of him, like jabbing this foot-long needle into his arm. Like that was the image he had of needles. And so all I did was I changed the image, and he generated this kind, like grandmotherly, like nurse who was very gentle. And the way he was picturing that completely got rid of his fear of needles. So we're going to do that today. But first, let's do some hypnosis. and generate a few things that you'd like to change. So when you're ready, you can get even more comfortable than you were just a moment ago. Getting situated, listening to the sound of my voice, the tempo and pace of my breath, of your breath and my speech. Connecting really to the unconscious supercomputer within you. And you may get a sense that your body is beginning to feel hollow inside, like my words and your thoughts can echo and reverberate throughout your entire being. And as you relax even deeper, trying to memorize every word that I say, you can imagine yourself at the top of a flight of 5 stairs, looking down those stairs to even deeper levels of letting go. Because at the bottom of those stairs is the computer room of your unconscious memories, desires, skills, and internal resources. And as you take that first step down, relaxing even more, knowing that just ahead of you, you will have access to insights and intuitions, to all of your memories, moving down another level, deeper, more relaxed, allowing your nervous system to connect you to that internal network, all of the files, all of the RAM and memories in your computer. Safely moving down another level, more relaxed, more comfortable. Noticing any unconscious movements, any feelings of energy moving through you, within you. Down one more step. Only one step away from that final level of the perfect trance to access all of your unconscious resources. And take that final step down, going through that door into this brilliant computer room where there's a computer that's got more neural connections than stars in the sky. And you sit down at the screen and you go into your settings and you hit the defragment button, which eliminates and deletes any old programs, any emotional residues, anything you're willing and ready to release now. And you can see the computer processing. You can feel the changes as your nervous system begins to release. begins to take in all of the lessons from everything you've experienced, releasing the emotions, resentments, releasing any guilt, freeing up space for energy to travel through the computer and through your nervous system. And somewhere, as you look through the files of this computer, you find a folder. And a folder might be marked something like things to let go of, things to move on from, or things that up until this point were holding me back. And when you find that folder, don't open it quite yet. In a moment, you'll open it and you'll see a few images of events or circumstances or things that you can just delete and let go of. And go ahead and click on that folder to find those things that up until now have been holding you back. And they may be things you don't expect. They may be things that surprise you. So just observe and don't judge as you look through those files. And before you make any changes, you can click on and highlight all of the files. And there should be like a right click button or something for you to click on to extract all of the lessons from those files so that we can just delete them. But it's very important for you to learn everything you need to learn because everything you've ever experienced has a purpose. So as your unconscious mind is learning and integrating from all of those experiences, you can make sure that you no longer need the emotions of those. And when you're ready, you can either archive those files, you can delete them, you can store them on an external hard drive, or you can just delete them altogether. It's up to you. And go through those files and click on them, and knowing that the emotions are gone, knowing that you've extracted all of the information you need, you can do what you need to do with them. And see your computer processing that information, upgrading its system, still defragmenting all of the old programs, consolidating your beliefs, your integrations, your lessons. And only when you're sure that's already happened, you can look for the file that may be labeled goals or dreams or aspirations. And in a moment, not yet, but in a moment, you can open that folder and see all of the files of all of the things you desire, you want, character traits you want to embody, experiences you want to have, things you want to own, things you want to accomplish. They're all inside. Things that maybe even you only thought about one time. It's a massive folder. In a moment, you can open that folder and just find something that's important to you. And go ahead and do that now. Open that folder of all of your dreams and goals and aspirations. And just find one image that represents something very important to you. And when you're ready, open that and let it unfold like a movie with you as the hero inside of this experience, and see it playing out fully. And make it even brighter. And notice what you hear and make the volume louder. Move everything closer and feel the textures of this experience. And notice how your nervous system and your brain processes this as if you've already achieved it, as if you've already experienced it. And as you do, it locks onto this experience as your target. It will move you automatically in the direction of creating this. And notice how close everything is, how this event feels to the touch, to your emotions. See it brighter. Hear the rhythms and melodies and harmonies of this experience. And feel the gratitude. And when you're ready, you can step out of that file, of that experience, looking back at the computer screen of all of the different dreams and aspirations you have, knowing that that one has been uploaded into your subconscious priorities. And the computer is working hard to bring that to fruition. And find another file, something that you will experience, that you will become, something that's important to you right now. And when you open that file, step into that experience again, the new one. And notice how the modalities of this experience are so that you can change them and perfect them. You can make it brighter. You can make it more colorful, louder, closer. Make it just perfect for you. Notice the textures that you feel. And make any changes necessary so your subconscious mind locks onto this experience as a target. Because as you experience pleasure and joy and gratitude in this experience, your subconscious mind knows to move you automatically in the direction of this achievement. And once you're sure that your subconscious mind is locked onto that experience, you can drift back out, looking at that computer screen, And as you do, noticing that the defragmentation process is wrapping up, that your computer is running so much more smoothly, so much faster, that it's programmed for those new experiences, those new joys, and it's released and deleted all of those programs that are no longer serving you. And when you're sure that's happened, you can let that computer to continue to work as you go back to the door, ready to head up the stairs, feeling better, more alive, and more awake with every step. And as you take the first step up, feeling more confident that your unconscious mind knows exactly what you want. The second step up, more energy, more alive. The motivation and impulses for success move through every nerve, every fiber, through your fingertips, through your toes, and even the hairs on your head, tuning you into success. The third step up, wiggling your fingers and your toes, integrating fully into your body. 4, more energy, more alive. And 5, eyes opening, feeling wonderful. Wasn't exactly what I had planned, but I thought that was good. We'll play with some modalities some more here, but how was that for everybody? There's Freddie. Freddie, I didn't want to log out from the other version of you because I didn't know if I was going to lose everything, but can you unmute?
Now, what do you mean log out from the other version?
Well, I'm logged in as you at the same time.
Oh, that's okay. No,
Okay.
we seem to have got on all right. It's all right.
Yeah. So we're doing a little modality shifting process. So I just had him go in and change some programs in their computer, and I want to get some feedback from everybody. How was that?
I thought you were doing a
Beautiful.
defrag.
I was doing that as part of it. Yeah. Caitlin, you want to share?
I want to go back.
What
And make
happened?
these longer and what happened? I wrote a book. I had a retreat. I had a wedding. Those 3 big ones. So, yeah.
That's exciting. That's exciting. All at the same time?
One file. It was pretty cool. I like the digital, like dissolving it and everything.
Good, good. Darlene, I saw she commented that she hates stairs. I apologize. This is the problem when you do group things is like some people like the metaphors, but some don't. You know, I could have done elevators and whatever, and then someone wouldn't have liked elevators. So I'll have to remember that for you, Darlene, but I hope it wasn't too disruptive. Does anyone else want to share?
I'll jump in there. My dog is squeaking her toy, so if it gets too loud or annoying, let me know. I went really deep. That was really great. I just want to tell you. I put in the chat that I clicked out here and there and now and again. I don't even remember you saying the word dissolving. So I was pretty deep. But yeah, I envisioned the different folders and first I started to store the stuff that that maybe I want to revisit. Maybe I didn't get all the lessons from it, and then and then I know my mind I just stomped up and down on the little external hard drive I was storing the stuff on and said, no, I got everything I need. So
Good. I had this intuition. I didn't want you to like delete everything because I feel like, some people might not want to quite delete it. So I gave you some options to archive it or do that. And I'm glad you came up with that. That's funny.
so thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, while you were getting rid of stuff, telling us to get our lesson and everything, as I was taking the lessons out, I could feel the vibrations across the little, like little fingers were crawling across my forehead right there, like, okay, you're getting it, you're getting it. And then I deleted mine. I said, I don't need it. The memory will be there, but I don't need any of that other shit that goes along with it. So, and then when you were talking about the dream part of it, I saw myself speaking on a stage in front of thousands of people. And I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. And my husband and I like to ask him every once in a while, if money were no object, where would you love to go? Any place in the world. He said Australia. I'm like, oh, we are spot on because that's where I want to go to. So I'm like, okay, that's the next thing we're going to do.
Awesome. Awesome. You look excited about it. Good. All right. So does everyone feel pretty good that they like Georgia, you mentioned, and I know I've had this experience too, where you can feel the changes, like you can feel your nervous system, you can feel energy moving through it and changing meanings and changing how you relate to those things. Does everyone feel pretty confident that happened? Yeah, Delane.
I'm so analytical, and I get in there and I analyze everything. Like I was looking for the defrag button and I thought, where is it? And then I thought, okay, just listen, let it go. So some things were coming and going, but then I would get analytical again about, okay, well, do I want to keep that or do I want to archive it? I was getting too much in my head about it all. So what I decided is I'll just go back and listen and be more, allow myself to relax more, because I still feel too, when we start doing these, I'm not as relaxed, and I need to be more relaxed in allowing myself to just let it all sink in, because I analyze everything you're saying.
All right. So we're talking about modalities here. So let's go along with this. So when you say you analyze everything, how do you know you're analyzing?
Well, whatever you're saying, I'm okay. Like you said, hit the defrag button. Well, I'm thinking, okay, where's the defrag button on my computer? Like, and then I thought, well, it's wherever it's supposed to be. And then you'd go on to something else, and I would see files, and then I would think about files that I always, and then when you were talking about the dreams and goals and how thick that was, and I thought, oh yeah, I've got sheets and sheets of stuff that I've written, ideas and goals and things that I want to do. And it just felt good because I was allowing myself to get into it to accomplish those dreams.
What it seems
But
like
it's still,
so it seems like you're having the experience, at least to some extent. So I want to drill down a
yes.
little bit. When you say,
Okay.
when I say, how do you know you're analyzing? And you mentioned thinking, and then you have questions, right? So is that, when you say analyzing, does that mean you have thoughts? Is that what you're?
I guess so. I'm thinking about it. And then I had a bit of a distraction sound in the house. And so then it was bringing me to that out a bit for a minute, because I have my great granddaughter in the house, and I could hear her crying. And it just brought me out a bit and then back in. And so that's why I need to be more like, because even with my earbuds in, I can still hear stuff. The
And
noises.
as you should, right? Because hypnosis is a state of heightened awareness where you become aware of more things. So it's not that
Yes.
that's generally bad. And also, hearing your granddaughter crying, that's something that your nervous system has evolved to do. So I don't think that's a bad thing at all. So if you're feeling like you're analytical, are you making pictures when you're asking these questions or having this internal dialogue? How does that voice appear to you?
Well, it's just my thoughts. And I envision things. I envision like the files. I envision the notes, the thickness of it. I was thinking, oh my God, I do have a lot, because I just finished cleaning up a bunch of papers and putting things together for like a workshop that I want to do, and things like starting a YouTube channel and just going for it and not, releasing the fear of stepping out and finally doing that has been foremost in my thoughts the last week. And
Great.
and I'm processing my first well, I played with some videos and I'm processing in my mind how to start my video over again. I want to redo it, restart it. But all these things were like, playing in my head while you were,
Okay.
these are the things that my goals were.
That's actually, that's perfect. That's what I was curious. Okay, excellent. So let's
Okay.
look at, if you think about something that used to hold you back or something else you want to work on, and we'll play a few games here and we'll have an experiment. So can you think of something that was a failure at some point, or something like that's a resentment, or something that you imagine about yourself that you make pictures of when you think about moving forward, something that's been holding you back up until now? Can everybody think of that? All right. So when I mentioned that, what's holding you back? Just the general question, what's holding you back? When you allow that to come into your unconscious awareness, how does it appear to you? Is it an image or a sound? Is it close? Is it far? It almost always ends up in a feeling, but before the feeling's generated, how do you see it? Notice the size of it. Where in your peripheral field is it located? And before we shift it, I would love to hear from any of you to notice what you experience. You don't have to tell me exactly what you're picturing, but I want to know, like, where is it? Is it in front of you, to the side? Is it big, small? What's the experience of how you're representing that thing?
For me, there's like the writing of the emails. For some reason, I get restrictive, like with the internal, there's like a constriction. I'm like, I don't want to do it. And so the emails like in front of me, like the software program, and I don't want to feel the restriction. I don't know how to change the modalities because I want that thing. Like it's colorful, it's in front of me, and I feel like I want it to be more colorful, right? Like I want to be drawn to it.
Okay,
So I feel like
I
maybe
gotta-
this isn't the right exercise for that thing. I don't know.
No, I was just thinking I have a rapid belief change process that I've been using lately that I actually used to get myself to quit coffee, because that was kind of the one vice I was hanging on to. But I've used it several times, and it's like it's a 4-step process, and it should blow that out of the water. But for you, Caitlin, what I want to get to is there's like that's the how you're representing that is the task. So there's something that's blocking you from that task, and then there's an end state for that task too. So when you think about writing emails, point to the feeling of restriction. Like, where do you feel that
Like in my
restriction?
heart.
In your heart. All right. And when you close your eyes and you think about that restriction, there's a positive intention for that feeling. So think about what the positive intention of that feeling is.
What do you mean? The positive intention of
So that feeling of restriction, that everything that happens to us,
like
there's a positive
protective.
intention behind it.
Protecting.
Protecting you. What's it protecting you from?
I think it stems back to my dad, like rejecting so much of my thoughts, my expression, not agreeing, calling it nonsense. Doesn't make
So now you, and what did you really want from your dad?
love.
Love. Right. So, I mean, this is what we all want. We're all human. Okay. So when that process of feeling restriction is to prevent you from being rejected, but what you really want is love. And so that email list, how much of that email list gives you love when you communicate with them?
A lot of them. I just got an email today saying how much they love it.
All right. So this is a short version of the rapid belief change process, but the thing that you thought restriction was going to prevent you from getting rejected, but in reality, it was preventing you from getting the thing that you really want. So that strategy had a positive intention that was getting you this is how it works. I have this whole new paradigm about beliefs, but it was getting you the opposite of what you actually wanted, wasn't it? Because you want love, and you get love from your email list, from sharing with them and being authentic with them. And so what's a new strategy that you can implement in order to get that love? And I think you already know what that is.
Just, I need to change where I'm putting my attention.
Well, it's emailing the list, right? Like that strategy
Right.
is what's going to get you what you actually want.
Mhm.
And as you realize
But
that, what do you feel about that now?
Good. It's just, I think writing outside of the computer and just imagining who I'm writing to, or just shifting my attention. And so then I just go to the computer and nail it out. And there's the formatting of the email, which can take, time of like inserting promos and things. So that needs to be a separate task than the writing.
Okay.
Right, like, so that helps me.
All right.
That's a new thought of like just breaking it down. So thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
You're getting clear on it. Okay. Let's wrap up because Freddie's going to do another call here in a few minutes because we got this time change thing. But I want to go through, did anyone else have a modality, like awareness of where that block shows up for them and how it shows up? Anything unexpected? So let's use our imagination. We'll do the magic frame here. So I want you to take, just close your eyes and take you can watch me for a moment. So keep your eyes open. And what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you trace out a picture frame, and inside of that frame is gonna be the thing that was blocking you. And you're gonna change, I'm gonna have you change the size of the frame, bigger and smaller, and change the colors of it. And then move it behind you. And I want you to notice how that changes how you feel. So go ahead and let's start with finding the feeling of the thing that's blocking you. And just like I had Caitlin do, just put your finger on it in your body. Where is the thing? Where's the feeling of what was blocking you? Now take your fingers and trace out that picture frame. And put your hands on either side of it and visualize that thing that was blocking you inside of this picture. And now move your hands wider and make that frame larger and that picture larger. And notice how that changes the feeling. And now take your hands and move them closer and make that frame smaller. And notice how that changes the feeling. And you may notice there's a little dial at the bottom of that picture frame, and turning it to the right makes it turn all the way white, and turning it to the left makes it go all the way black. So slowly start to turn it to the right and notice that it's fading to white, brighter and brighter. All the way bright, all the way whited out, and notice how you feel. And then take your fingers and turn that dial all the way to the left, making it darker and darker, fading all the way to just a black picture. And notice which one feels better and turn it to that spot on the dial. And take that frame and make it even smaller now. Push it down even smaller. So it's like an envelope, like a postcard, like a little stamp. And hold that, pinch it between two of your fingers and hold it up and look at it. this little pattern that used to hold you back is now this tiny little stamp size, either all the way black or all the way white picture. And it may seem funny as you notice how your nervous system relates to it now and how different you're already starting to feel. Because in a moment, you're going to hold it up over your head and a strong wind is going to come and blow that little stamp way behind you. Way behind you. So go ahead and hold your fingers up just high enough to let that breeze take it and hear that wind and just let it go. And see it fluttering, being blown way back, way into the distance to a point you can't even see it anymore. And notice how free you feel now. And when you realize that your nervous system has completely changed how you feel about that, you can open your eyes and share as we wrap up the call here. Delane, I saw a wow from you. That's impressive. What happened?
Well, I have, oops, my timer just went off. I have a course that I need to complete, and I've been so uptight about it. And because I hate taking tests, I have to take tests throughout. And it's been eating at me for ages. And it just felt good. I felt like, okay, it's done. I got I passed, everything's good. That's what it felt like. So we'll see.
That's a pretty good feeling. I'm excited to hear from you how it goes. That's great.
Yes, thank you.
That's great. All right. Does anyone else want to share before we start wrapping up for hour 2? Kaylin, you look like you had a pretty good experience this week. Carmen, did you want to share?
Oh, I was just going to say, I was surprised that when I turned the dial to black, it felt better for me than the white. So
Good. That's why we give you options. All right. Hopefully this was a good week for everybody, and I'm excited to hear how your program shifts went. We got a bunch of our European allies coming on board right now.
All those little stamps blowing in the wind. Never to bother you again.
Freddie, I'm going to log out as you. We'll see what happens here. I don't even know which one.